Nice. You just fucking yelled at me the whole time about having my fucking clap ready to go.
Well, the clap is important.
All right, well, as long as you don't have the clap. This is the Drop Podcast, where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Porro, and this is Ryan Culotte, and this episode is presented by the Law Office of Mallon and Tranger.
Hey, everyone. Another great week for us. Again, appreciate all the love and support we're getting. Keep throwing it out to us. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. You can find us on Spotify at the Drop Podcast. You can subscribe to the YouTube page, the Drop Golf Podcast, and Instagram and Twitter, both the same handles, at the Drop_pod is where you can find all of our content. We got videos, we got some big stuff coming out in the next couple weeks with some more interviews and just the content we're putting out. I mean, we're really out here grinding and trying to put as much stuff out as possible between just the two of us and hoping you guys are liking it. And again, as I said, I think you guys are. So we're trying to do our best to keep up with it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, taking advantage of all this weather in the past few weeks is key for us, and that's what we've been trying to do. So, I can't, say it enough. I appreciate it. It's been a blast, and hopefully, this thing continues to steamroll downhill.
Absolutely. So this week we had an amazing opportunity. Mike's going to introduce you to Troy a little bit, but we went down and got to hang out with Troy Vannucci. He plays out of Little Mill down in Medford or
Marlton.
Thank you. I knew it was one of those M1s. And he, again, just kind of a blind, like we're able to connect with him over Instagram and kind of hang out with him and nice enough to invite us down. So we went down to Little Mill, took a trip across the state, and played 27 holes with him.
29.
That's right. We had some bonus holes.
We did.
So we're gonna talk about that round today. Kind of talk about the course, about Troy a little bit, and then we were actually fortunate enough to interview him before we went out and played in an unbelievable men's grill room that he was like, no one ever really goes here, because he said it's just a golfing club. It's got 3 nines, and they are they're really just there to golf, and it's not a huge clubhouse as far as that kind of stuff goes. Where you can see something on the 18th hole come up or whatever. They got a nice outdoor facility there with the Adirondack chairs and a little halfway house. But as far as a clubhouse goes, it was a small little bar. Locker room seemed beautiful. Don't get me wrong, everything was nice. But he's like, no one really uses this. So we kind of went down there, hung out, and it was early in the morning anyway. So I think the combination of it being early in the morning, never meeting Troy, and nervous on both accounts. He's nervous to talk to us. He's never met us. Mike and aren't professional interviewers and didn't go to school for it, and we're still getting used to it as well. In a new place for us, we're both nervous. He's nervous, and it's something new for everybody. And then as the day went on, just kind of loosened up, and he's legitimately now a friend. We went there as complete strangers, and he's our guy now. He's an awesome dude. I can't wait to have you guys listen to it, and he's going to be on the show a ton. He's our guy, Mike, right? He's our dude, and
yeah.
that was incredible. So it was a great day. We got some stories to tell you, so it was really good. So Mike, why don't you jump in? Tell us who Troy is.
Yeah, I mean, let's get started. I mean, I think, when you meet someone for the first time after having just conversations on the phone, through text and through DM, it's still a little nerve-wracking because you really don't know who they are. You don't know what they're going to ask you in terms of us asking him questions. And you try to be as laid back as you can, and we try to flow as smoothly as we can in a conversation. But rightfully so. Everybody's a little nervous early on, but We legit spent 10 hours with Troy when you think about when we got there to when we left. And I can't help but emphasize, like, not only is Troy just a stud golfer, like, just rifles the driver, just pure with his irons, drops putts like I've never seen before. Like, he's a good fucking person too. He really is. Like, he can talk smack and take it if you're giving it to him. He backs it up with his game. He lets you, throws his subtle jabs in at you at times. But he's just a downright good person, man. I mean, for anyone that wants or does invite us out there, normally it's for the normal 4-hour round. You talk beforehand. We were with Troy. We got there. I got there at 7:15, and we didn't leave till 5:15. We played 29 holes, had lunch, had a few beers, just enjoyed ourselves. And I felt like at the end of the day, like, it was 3 buddies hanging out, golfing, shooting the shit. You can't say anything negative except how bad we played on the first 9 holes. The rest of it was so pure. I mean, just as a little background on Troy for some people that may be listening that don't know who he is. Like, who is this guy that these two are rambling about? Well, first of all, Troy Vannucci plays at a Little Mill Country Club. 6-time club champion. 6.
Hold on, Mike. Can I cut you off? I want to throw in a little bit about, like, he's going to throw you these stats right now. Troy is 5'4", 5'5".
Give him the benefit of doubt. 5'5".
Right. He's he's a little fella, and he just absolutely, like, not only does he win tournament, he stripes the ball. Absolutely stripes it. So just kind of, if you're trying to put a picture of who this guy is, he is he talks. He grew up, born in Texas, grew up in Memphis, so he's got a little bit of Southern twang to him. But he's this short, built like a shit brick house guy.
Yeah, and to echo that, I mean, listen. So he's won the club champion 6 times. Okay, that ties the record at Little Mill, and I'm going to guess that the dude will win it again next year and then set the record for 7. Not only does he dominate Little Mill, but he's on a national level as well. I mean, he qualified for the United States Mid-Am tournament. Let me repeat that. The United States Mid-Am, not the New Jersey, not the Gap, the United States Mid-Amateur tournament. Okay, so he not only qualified for that.
Mike, for those that don't know, explain what Mid-Am means.
Okay, so the Mid-Amateur is for normal golfers, in a sense, that are 30 years or older, okay? Sometimes the age may vary to where it's 35. Some may vary to where it's 30. But it kind of takes the older golfer, the middle-aged golfer, I guess is a better term for it, and has them play against like-aged people. It takes the stud teenager. It takes the stud college kid. It takes the young 25-year-old, maybe looking to go pro, out of the equation and turns it into a middle-aged tournament that I know people may joke around with, like, talking like your dad's golfing. Like, no. Okay, let's put things in perspective. Troy's handicap is a plus 3.5, I believe. So you're talking not only does he compete at that level, but he's successful to where he was the semifinalist in the United States 4-ball tournament, where with him and his partner, they fired 64-64, and they were the tri-medalists of the entire thing. Okay, so I'm not talking just like you and your buddies are going to go play best ball and see what you shoot. This is like USGA type stuff. And then to his credit, in 2021, when he, some local things, he was the Mid-Am runner-up in the 2021 NJSGA tournament. And then I think his one major where he's finally broken through, and now he's going to not only just be consistent and contend, but now he's going to start winning, because like they always say, it's always the hardest to get the first one. And now that I think that he's done it, where he won the 2022, this year he won it, the Gap Mid-Amateur tournament, I just think you're going to see him holding trophies more than not just contending for them. And I could continue on, but as you guys listen to the interview at the end of this, you'll see some even more accolades and awards that Troy has won.
Yeah, and I know he's, fingers crossed. I know he's, and I know golfers and everybody's superstitious. I know he's waiting for a particular big year next year. We'll leave it at that, and hopefully time will fill that in for us.
Yeah, and I think there's no doubt at the end of the day, after spending that much time with him, I think besides maybe family and we got to be up there in terms of his biggest fans. I mean, I there's not going to be a bigger supporter. I don't care if it's on Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media that people use. Like, we are going to be all over there rooting for him, DMing with him, texting him, posting things. Like, let's blow this guy up so people not only in Southwest towards Philly, Southern New Jersey, but the whole state truly realize, like, this dude is a stud. Right.
And you know what? Like, you always, like, there's people who are good golfers and other studs that you want to support. He's I've said it 100 times. He's just a dude. Like, he was so cool to hang out with. Like, it was so, like, in the business world, they talk about, like, the layover test. Like, would you, like, when you interview someone, like, would you be able to hang out and you have a 6-hour layover because the flight's got whatever? Could you hang out with him for 6 hours? Shit, we did it for 10. Like,
on the first time we met him.
We could.
The first time we met him. Right.
Like, he's our guy. I said it, like, every time I see it. What's up, fam? He's the Drop Podcast family now. He's part of us, and like you said, I'm happy, proud, honored, whatever you want to call it. He's a legitimate friend now, and I'm happy. Troy, thank you for having us out there. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we were, because you know what? Sometimes you get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and good things happen. Good things happen to good people.
Don't you forget it, buddy.
All right, let's jump into the round a little bit. Right, they got 3 9s. Let's break them down a little bit. Tell the people what's out there, and go from there.
All right. Well, obviously, so listen, we were fortunate we played 3 9s, and we said to Troy from the get-go that we wanted to play the black tees. Like, we want the full experience. We want the full challenge. No excuses. Leave them at home. I shined the clubs before I went. I'm pumped up. I am jacked up. I am ready to go out there and just, like, show this dude that I can play. Like, let's go. Put my big boy pants on. I said, we're doing this. Well, not only did I suck the first 9, but that front 9 just whooped my ass. I mean, I can't hit a fade or a cut to save my life, and I felt like for 9 straight holes, you had to hit a cut. So, me being that stubborn Italian I am, I said, I'm hitting driver, dude. I'll take it over the trees. Well, the ball ended up in the trees. And I shot a whopping 44. 6 bogeys, a double, and 2 pars. So I would say that the white kicked my ass. But I loved it. But I will say this, and I know you and I mentioned this a lot on our ride home that day, was we would love to play the 9 again. Same tees, same holes, everything. Because I think, like anything, as you play it, you learn about the golf course. And not saying that I would shoot lower than 44, because shit, I might shoot higher, okay? But I'd like to think that I know where to miss it. I can't hit driver like an idiot like I was. So you'd be banging 5-iron, 7-iron into the green rather than trying to bomb driver like Troy, who is 5'5", stocky built, and kills it 315 with that old butter cut. Like, I can't do that. So I'm maybe hitting 5-iron, 7-iron. But I think that reduces the chances of chipping out of the woods and now grinding to get up and down from 100 yards.
On a green that, quite frankly, is slippery at best. I mean, we said it, we didn't see our first truly straight putt until the 3rd 9. And it was, like, every putt is, like, moving just a little bit, just a little, it's one of those, this is a 3-foot slider. And there wasn't one putt that was just like, okay, this is just bang it to the back of the hole. And yeah, it was brutal. I mean, both Mike and I are a little golf masochists in that way, where we like, especially if I play a course multiple times, right? I want to see it from the backs to see the whole course. Now, there's times when I'll go out and play, like, I've played Charleston Springs, Hominy Hill, dozens of times each. I don't need to go get my teeth kicked in there at those courses. I can go out and have a nice, challenging day still. That's reasonable. But if I was new to that place, I kind of want to come in and play it from, where it is. Like the couple times I've been up to Bethpage Black, I want to play the black from the blues. I don't want to play it from the more, for my handicap kind of thing. And yeah, I'm going to go. There was a hole today on the white side. I went driver, 3-wood, 5-wood. And then still not on the green, but at least I was chipping onto the green.
Yeah, well, let's preface that hole also was a bear. It was 600 yards, dead into the wind.
Right.
So,
well, Mike, it wasn't 600 yards. Let's because there's going to be Captain Literal people. It was 595 yards from where we teed off.
Okay. by the numbers, maybe, but into the wind.
Into the wind, it's over 6.
Yeah. So, but I mean, listen, that white course, like Troy had mentioned to us, it was going to be the hardest one. It was going to be the most challenging one. And I guess you would like to think that maybe you could play at the second or third 9 after we've all kind of gotten to know each other even better, because there was no doubt our friendship and relationship from where it was at 7:15 when I arrived to when we left at 5:15, man, it was drastically different. And everybody was way more comfortable.
And that's going to happen no matter what, right? Like, people reach out to us and have said stuff. Of course, you're nervous meeting somebody. If you're meeting somebody for the first time, it's like a first date. You're nervous. Who is this person? What are they about? You're trying to get to know each other. And the longer it goes on, the more you're going to get to know, for sure. But it was what impressed me the most was the speed of which it became so easy to hang out with him. Mm-hmm. After like the floodgates kind of open, they kind of let your guard down.
Yeah, you could be you. Yeah. You could be you, and I think that showed in you and I, our game specifically, because every 9 that we played, we scored better. Our final score overall was better as we went all 3 9s, and I think, like maybe it was for him in the interview being a little nervous, it might have been that way to some degree for us. And then as we got going, it became a lot easier. And for him, his comfortability on the golf course was clearly there, more so in the beginning, because it's routine for him. And maybe as for us, as we constantly are interviewing people, it's a little easier for us too. So, there's definitely some trade-offs in that respect. But, listen, the white 9, I said, beat us up, slapped us around. And if you had to ask for who won that fight, it wasn't even close. They won landslide. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, so then obviously we went from the white 9 to the blue 9 to the red 9. And why don't you jump into the blue 9 a little bit in terms of, are things that stood out to you? Yeah,
the blue 9 was definitely easier. I think the difference between all 3 holes, the white was the hardest, and the difference between the white to blue was still significantly more than the blue to the red. Like, the red was the easiest, blue was the middle, and that jump there was much more comparable than the blue to the white. I thought the blue was a nice... even from the backs there, I thought it was a more comfortable round as far as distance goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the white was such a bare yardage, the greens, like the tightness of it. You got to the blue, and it was like the white but halved. You know, like the fairways were wider. You still had the pines and the leaves to contend with, but the fairways were wider. Yes, the greens were slippery, but they weren't as slippery. You know, the just everything about it. I thought it was great, and I think my two favorite holes of the day were on that that side.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the two favorite holes, I mean, I don't know if you and I differ, but I think we both agree that those two par threes, 5 and 8, were the two holes to me. And I correct me if I'm wrong. You agree with those two? There was the two that just stood out more than anything.
And honestly, that stretch of that might be my favorite stretch of like 5, that par 3, 6,
the par 5 dogleg left.
Yep.
7, the dogleg right, par 4.
I took a picture. So the dogleg right, par 4. You hit it out there. You hit driver. You get to the turn, and I yelled. I took a picture, and I was like, "This. I'm framing this. This is like the green. There's like a little stream out to the right. There's the trees. You're going up a hill in the background of it, so you got like the colors in the trees. It was picturesque and just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and to what you're saying about 7, so people can visualize it, like it's so much so that even Troy had mentioned, like right behind 7, because the green, it kind of slopes from back to front downwards, and there's a huge like backdrop more or less behind the green. And Troy said, he's like, they should put the letters LMCC back there because it just screams perfect picture. It really does.
It really does.
It could be a true symbol of that place. And that was, Troy had mentioned that, and I was like, wow, that's just a no-brainer, really.
For sure, yeah. But there, so, and then that par 3 after, that stretch of holes there, those 5, 6, 7, 8, those 4 holes are
priceless.
As good of holes, of a stretch of 4 holes that maybe I've ever played. It was really beautiful, good, like it was great. It really was a nice.
I can't agree more. I mean, I think when I think back to that place, like the stretch that you just talked about, Rye, is so good. It's so good. It's not just that it's hard, but like for the golfer that like is looking for the aesthetics, the holes, the design, the undulation, like I felt like on those 4 specifically, you could check every box. And looking back at it, it's like, man, how good are those 4? And I can see why a guy like Troy doesn't get bored of that place.
And it's target golf, like we talked about, it's tight, but like I said that par 5, it's like a double dog leg. He said it makes like an S. Yeah. And it does. It's a legitimate dog leg left and then dog leg back to the right. Like you can't, I don't know if you can cut the corner without, like you're not making it over the trees. You're either putting a big hook or a big slice on it.
Well, Troy had said,
anyway,
he had said though specifically, he's like, you got to bomb it out there past the corner. And he said, you're talking, I believe he said like 320 to get it past the corner. And then from there, it's not, you don't have a straight shot. Then he's like, then you had to hit a banana cut all the way around the trees because you're not getting it high enough with the club you'll have to hit to get it there.
Right, with the distance.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
like, and for me, I noticed that it was a beautiful hole, and I was I was in the Army on that hole. Left side, right, left side, right side, left side. I mean, so I was all over it. I was like, this is a great hole. And then like even if you want to go nerdy golf course architecture, like the bunker that is placed on the right side of the green, the front right of the green, is placed there so like if you're going to try to go over the trees, like if you're able to put yourself into a distance where you're going to go with a wedge over or a 9-iron or something that is going to get up high enough over the pines, you're not just getting up onto a flat green or into, there's an enormous front bunker there that if you have a straight on approach, it's in view, or if you're going to try to go over trees, you're going to have to contest. Like, it was just architecturally was just great as well. So yeah, that stretch, and then fast forward. So that was 6, 7's the par dogleg right, par 4, which again stunning. We just talked about that, and then you ended on a par 3 that is high up. It played. You shoot the pin, and it was 143. And then 142, and then with the slope was 125.
Yeah,
that's what you had to play it, and it was just beautiful. You're above all the trees. You know, you really. I mean, it takes you. It legitimately, you had to drive the golf cart for a solid minute to get up this, like, mountain basically, to get up that high, and you just have such a beautiful view onto a green that was pretty. They did a great job with like the stone work. If you were walking the course, that like stone little walkway to get you down there looked really pretty. It was just like just beautiful. And then onto, you got to hit a green that's not quite two tiered per se, but if the pin's in the back, you really want to be in the back, and sloping from back to front, and again sliders all day. It was just a great golf hole. So
yeah,
and then finally,
yeah, go ahead. No, go
ahead.
No, go.
I was just gonna say, and then finally we got to 18, and Mike has a hole where he can move it right to left. It was the first time all day, I think, that you actually had aim it at the tree line and just work it back, just hit your drive, and it just
Yeah, I mean, it's a great stretch. That was a solid 9. And, so we finish, and most of the time, being guests of where we're, invited to, you think it's kind of over. He tossed out, you want to play an extra 9, and there was no questions asked by us. It was like, yeah, we'll gladly play. So we get to the red 9, and this is where, like, the fun begins, because we get on the tee box, and Troy says...
It was funny, Mike. You said it's where the fun begins. It really was. It really was like we've been loose. It's been good. It's been nice. But then we got off there, and it was just like it was almost like you just like, okay, that round's over. Like, you know how there's like you play 9. It's like, okay, that 9's over. The round's over. It's like, all right, done. And he's like, hey, let's go mess around on the other 9. And it was that was the yeah.
I mean,
that was definitely it.
So we get to the 9, the next 9, it's the red 9, and Troy definitely said that this is the easiest of the 3. And I don't know, in terms of definition of easy, like, it's not easy, okay? It was still challenging, but maybe if you're comparing it to the other 2, you'd probably go white, blue, red. Like, I get it, but I think if the average golfer may jump on the 9 at red, you're going to be like, what are these two clowns talking about? It's a struggle here. Some par 3, the third hole of the par 3, or third hole of the par 3, or the second hole of the par 3. Either one, whatever the case is.
So the third hole.
Yeah, the third hole. You're still 220, par 3, so it's not like it's short or anything. But whatever. We get to the first tee, and Troy says, you guys want to play a little match? And Ryan and I are like, yeah, but it's got to be net, because clearly our better ball is still not going to beat yours. He agrees. We check the handicaps, and he's got to give Rye 8 shots, and he's got to give me 1.5. I still didn't get enough shots, but whatever, those are the handicaps. We come out, first hole, and I think the first hole will lead us to the end story here, but that first hole, Rye gets up there, hits it in the right rough. I hit in the right side of the fairway, and Troy's, maybe in the right first cut there. And Rye hits his shot to the left bunker. I hit mine onto the green about 20 feet, and then Troy goes and he flares it out to the right. So I'm saying to myself, Ryan gets a shot, like, Troy's not going to get up and down. Like, we're going to start 1 up. Rye hits his bunker shot to maybe like 4 feet. You say 4 feet?
Yeah.
About 4 feet. Good bunker shot. Troy chips, and the thing rolls off the green. And he's got about a 25-footer now. He's directly behind me, but I'm on the green. And now I'm like, this is a done deal. He's not making this. And just like all good golfers have constantly told us, like, never count somebody out. But I'm not that guy, and I've already counted this guy out. Well, he proceeds to center cut the putt off the fringe, dead center. He makes it. Now Ryan and I look at each other like, now one of us have to make this.
Right. So now I have to make mine for a 4 for 3.
Or
you have to
make my 20-footer.
Or you have to make yours, or we just push the hole.
Right. So I go first, and I miss mine. I don't even think I came close. And then you had a little fucking slider, and that thing just snaps on you. So we go from right off the bat that I'm thinking like, finally, yeah, we're playing a little $10 match. We're going to beat this guy. I'm going to promote it all over the place. We're going to be one up after one. Nah, doesn't work that way. But we're even after one, and we continue to play. And it went back and forth. I think I chipped in on one hole for a birdie. Then Troy comes back and knocks it stiff and makes a birdie. Then you make a huge, huge putt on 7 for the win. And fast forward, we go to the 9th hole. And it's been back and forth. We're talking smack, basically in the middle of his backswing and his putting stroke. Like, we're pulling out all the, un-golf etiquette stunts that you could do. Like, we're trying to, just not phasing him. And I think this is where we get to 9, and it's just like, here we go. We're gonna pull this thing off, and we're gonna take that picture, and we're posting it on Instagram. We're letting everybody know that these two jamokes beat this stud. I tee off first. I hit it to about 25 feet past the pin. Not bad.
This is the only hole that I don't stroke on.
Good point. Another good point. So it's straight up.
We're all playing straight.
Yeah, yep. So it's not looking good for us probably at that point because it's a straight up hole, and he probably wins that 99% of the time. Ryan goes next and hits it in the front bunker. Troy hits a shot, and he flares it out to the right. I'd say he leaves it on the first cut, fringe type area, about 35 feet. I'm like, all right, listen, love our chances. Love our chances right now. We're going to pull this off. Like, we're going to do this. Mm-hmm. Ryan goes first, hits his bunker shot to 5-6 feet.
No, this one was a little longer. I thought it was more like 6-8 feet, somewhere in there.
Okay, but, give or take. Give or take.
1/2 a dozen.
Right, so Ryan hits it out of the bunker, knocks it at 8 feet. But even better, it's right on my line. So I'm thinking like, we're going to pull the strategy card here. Ryan's going to go first, show me the line. I'm going to fucking make this, and we're going to run into the sunset like champions. $10 richer later. Troy decides it's his turn, and he's going to putt it. He's got about 35 feet. He's got to go through the first cut.
He's probably got, I'd say he has a good yard of that like fairway that's on it's not a fairway on a par 3.
Yeah, it's like the fringe. He's got to go through the fringe.
Yeah. And he's got a good yard of it, and then all the green, and it's a good, it's moving from left to right.
Yep.
Good distance. Yeah.
And Ryan, tell him what happens. Tell him what
he goes to bed.
Tell him what he says the minute or the second, the millisecond after he hits it.
Uh-oh. Guys, he said uh-oh. And when I tell you...
Before the ball was on the green.
He said uh-oh. He said uh-oh not a full second after he hit it. The ball was... And if it was on the green, it was a foot on the green. But he knew as soon as he hit that putt, that's good. And he went, uh-oh, I just did it to these guys again. Because let's not forget, we didn't mention it. The first hole, he holes out like that. He hit how many other putts? I mean, he hit... 10-footers were tap-ins for him all day. So this is the first time he's hitting this, off the green 35-footers, but he's been nailing putts left and right. So he says, uh-oh, and I go, uh-oh what? Like thinking, like I got real excited for a second, like, uh-oh, like he hit that too hard. It's going to hit the slope because it's a 2-tiered green, go down way to the left, and it's like, yeah, we're not going to a playoff hole. Let's go. No. Dead center. And can I tell you, it was demoralizing, but it's more how he made the putt. It had the perfect speed with the perfect break. Like, it's not like it trickled in or took a side door or like he banged it into the back and just like, ooh, man, if I miss that, it's 20 feet past. No. This was the perfect speed for this putt. Perfect speed. It was like he had Tiger Vision. 2005 Tiger Golf. And put the Tiger Vision on. It was something.
No doubt. And then of course I put mine and leave it probably like 3 feet short. And I think how Troy apologized to us after that again was another just true sign of someone's character and how bad he really felt. Because I even jokingly said to him after that, I said, if we tied this hole, I was going to tell you we're going to a playoff. Like, we're not ending in a tie. I came here to win, and I'm going to find a way to win. And it just summed up the day. It did. He's that good. That place is that good. And it, I like I said at the beginning, like, he gained 2 gigantic fans in us. And I think the analogy and what you mentioned, and I think you should share in terms of who he will be to us, is spot on.
So every golf podcast takes their lineage from somewhere, and obviously this is, Foreplay from Barstool is obviously the godfather of all golf podcasts. And their boy is Kevin Kisner. And I think that's a perfect example of who he's going to be for us. He's our Kevin Kisner, right? He's our dude who's going to come golfing with us, have some drinks with. Like, I bet if we were to be like, hey, Troy, can you jump on a Zoom? Like, let's chat. He's jumping on. Like, he's just our guy now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna follow him. He's our dude. And just such a laid back, down to earth guy that just is a stud golfer. That's now part of our family.
Yep. I couldn't say it any better.
All right. So again, that's our day with Troy. And the golf course at Little Mill, again, just a spectacular place. Troy, again, thank you for having us. It was just tremendous. We both of us left there and talked on the phone for another 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, however long it was, about how great of a day that was. So really, thank you. So before we send you to our interview with Troy, here's a word from our sponsor.
Tom Mallon and Randy Tranger are board-certified trial attorneys who share more than 40 years of legal experience. They specialize in personal injury matters, workers' compensation cases, and criminal and municipal defense. As certified trial attorneys, they have recovered millions of dollars on behalf of people injured in accidents and employees injured at work. They have offices conveniently located in Freehold and Point Pleasant. For skilled and personalized legal representation, call Mallon and Tranger at 732-780-0230 or check out their website at tmallonlaw.com. Not only are they good people, they're good golfers too. All right, welcome to today's episode. Again, we're super fortunate here to be at Little Mill Country Club with our guest, Troy Vannucci, kind of a household name in terms of New Jersey State golf, the Gap, the Met, all different areas, super successful. I'm going to go through a laundry list of accolades and awards that Troy has won more recently. So first off, he's a 6-time club champion, 3-time DeBoffre Players Trophy champion, a 2-time champion of the Suburban Invitational, and a 3-time Springhaven Cup champion. 2019 was a semifinalist in the USGA 4-ball, where they were also the tri-medalist in stroke play, firing 64-64 with his partner. 2019, he qualified for the USGA Mid-Am at Colorado Park Golf Club. 2021, he was the Gap Philadelphia Amateur Championship, where he made it to the quarterfinals. In 2021, he was also the NJSGA Mid-Am runner-up, while also in 2021 finishing tied for 3rd in the Philadelphia Open Championship. But I think the one thing that stands out more so than anything is this year, Troy went on to win the 2022 Gap Mid-Amateur Champion, which is probably the biggest one out of all of them in terms of all the accolades and awards that Troy's accomplished. So first and foremost, Troy, thanks for having us out here. And thanks for inviting us to this place. So, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. The place we're recording in is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I'm glad you guys made the trip down. Glad to have you guys out. This is awesome.
So I'm going to get started here with some questions, and I know anytime that we have guests on the show, it's a little tough early on trying to feel it all out and feel comfortable. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Obviously, you know, I did some research and I saw that, you know, you were born in Texas, you know, headed out to Memphis, and now, you know, how does a guy like you end up in Marlton, New Jersey?
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a wild story. Basically, born in Texas, don't really remember much, only there 2 or 3 years. But I call Memphis home. Basically, grew up there. Everyone's there. I have a little family spread out, Florida, Jersey. So, yeah, basically grew up in Memphis, and then out of high school, didn't really know what I was wanting to do. Came up here, stayed with my aunt and uncle for 2 summers in high school. And then after high school, moved up here, didn't really know what I was wanting to do. Worked at a local country club, and then finally started working for my uncle's best friend. And I've been doing that ever since. Nice.
And so when we played, or I always say that we as if I'm part of you, it's like we're a fucking team. And I can't tell you how many times my wife's like, dude, Mike, you're not we. It's him or him. So
no, we're part of the team now.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm part of the team. You know, I always like to feel like I want to be involved in the team. But for you specifically, so your high school golf was played in Memphis.
Yes. Correct.
And what was that experience like being out there compared to what you've seen here?
Yeah, it was. So I was a late bloomer. I played all the sports growing up, but I got into golf late. So I didn't start playing till like my 8th grade summer going into freshman year. And I had got new clubs for my birthday that year and never really played. Just like, oh, why would you give me golf clubs? And just like, then eventually started pick them up, playing with my grandfather and stuff like that. And just really got hooked. And lucky for me, golf season's in the same season as football. So obviously, I'm not going to be playing football. I'm just human punching bag out there. And wasn't very good. Started to get a little better. Did a lot of practicing. I didn't grow up at a country club. No really place to practice. I was always doing other stuff, basketball, baseball, all the competitive stuff. And yeah, just basically finished out high school, played golf. Wasn't good enough to get a scholarship anywhere. So then when I moved up here, I just played in a bunch of golf tournaments and just started to get better each year. You just learn, get better.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think that. I would have guessed, not knowing you, that golf was a staple. That, you know, to see the results that you put up now and the wins that you have now and the tournaments you play in, like, to me as a guy that follows the NJSGA, that follows the Gap, that follows the Met, like constantly seeing your name on there, I would have guessed like you were born and bred into this, but clearly that couldn't be the furthest from the truth.
Yeah, no. So my uncle and cousin, they were household name, Michael Hyland and Tom Hyland. They played in everything. And basically, they just signed me up for everything. Mainly my uncle signed me up for everything. I remember like one season, I played in probably 12 qualifiers for Gap, Jersey, Met, whatever, you name it. And I've only made one. And I was like, man, this is like really tough. But like once you make that one, and you know you can do it, and you just keep on practicing, you get better and better, and it's just like everything else. It's like stepping stones. You got to cut your teeth, and you go through the grind and missing the cuts, making the cuts, and now it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. I think just like to piggyback that, like I think even for, you know, like I was fortunate to play a lot of golf growing up, and I have 2 little girls, a 10 and 7-year-old, and once COVID came around, you know, that's when I really said, I'm going to get back into the game. Maybe I played 5 times in a year, but like COVID came and I was bored, so I started playing again. So I started dabbling in the tournaments, and I said, let me see. And I'll still never forget when I tried qualifying for the state am at Burlington Country Club. The first tee, my hands were like shaking, like I was a nervous wreck. But I left there and didn't qualify, but I was like, this was a lot of fun. Like the competitive juice is flowing. It just made me say like, I'm going to like put some time and effort into it. Then, you know, 2021 came around. I was fortunate to qualify for the New Jersey State Public Links up at Ballyowen. And then this past summer qualified for the New Jersey State Open. But so like now I can see what you're saying. Like once you get in that and you're like, all right, I see what it takes. I think I can do it. You know, the grind is real.
Oh, definitely. It's just like anything else. It's like a big adrenaline rush. It's like, yeah, you get on the first tee, you really not know what to expect. You're super nervous, but then after a while, it just comes like riding a bike, and you're just like, all right, I need to go out here and take care of business, and then. Yeah, and then it's nice because Jersey, they got so many good courses, and it's like every time you miss a qualifier, you're like, oh damn, I really wanted to play that course. It's like, and they're tough to get on, and it's just like, man, that was a great venue. So you're always eager to get back to that next qualifier.
Is that usually the catalyst for you as to why you're picking and choosing tournaments? It's like, oh, I want to play that club, or I want to play there, or even like the qualifiers. Like, would you rather drive somewhere a little further to play a course to qualify at there as opposed to somewhere else? Or is that ever like come into mind for you?
So me, it's all schedule depending. Like I'll drive 2 hours to go playing something if I don't have a conflict or something. But me, I guess I play too much golf. I'm playing like 3 associations, so I really have to like choose and pick and stuff like that.
To piggyback, like the schedule. The schedule is obviously for someone like you that plays in everything. Okay, you're down here in the Gap. You play this New Jersey State Golf Association. You play in the Met. Like I saw that you play down in Florida and something. Yeah. So like, how do you, like Ryan said, pick and choose? Like I'm gonna go play the New Jersey State Mid-Am, and I'm going to go play the Met Open. Like when it comes to your schedule, are there things that rank higher than others?
Yes, for sure. So like I'm always going to play in an Open over an AM or a Mid-Am or something like that. I feel like the Opens, that's your best event at any state. Like you're going to get the best talent. You're playing with the pros. So I always pick the Opens. Like I think this year I had to choose between the Jersey Open and the Pennsylvania Am. It was a no-brainer. I'm going to do the Jersey Open. Mm-hmm. So luckily I've had like pretty much the same schedule for like the last 2 or 3 years. So I know what events conflict, run into each other and stuff like that because they usually always fall on the same date. And then if you have a good season, it's not so much me, but like there's WAGR points. You got to figure out like WAGR points. Like, oh, this tournament's ranked higher. You can get more WAGR points here. But here lately, I haven't even been chasing WAGR points. It's just like...
And the point system is correct me if I'm wrong, it's like the World Amateur Golf Rankings.
Yes,
right?
Correct.
So, and then the higher you go, in a sense, or the better you play, the more points you can accumulate. And what does that lead to?
So basically like the national level. So like anytime you sign up for like a national invitational or anything, just like that's the first thing they ask. How many USGA events you played in and what's your WAGR? And it's tough for me. I'm like a Mid-Am. I play in AMs and stuff like that. Like all the college kids, they get all the WAGR points. Like they're ranking, the strength of the field's a lot stronger here. You got Jersey, PA, Gap, and stuff like that. They're strong, but they're not college strong. So like you have to finish in that top 5 just to get some points.
So the college kids are getting points in their own tournaments as well as the New Jersey State Open is.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, for instance, like Mark Costanza, he has to watch his WAGR. He's like super high up. Now, if he plays in the Jersey Am or something like that and then plays bad, he'll drop way down. Well, if a college kid plays in a Jersey Am, he may drop a little bit, but he's playing in a college event, and he still accumulating points.
Yeah. So, like, if you play, like you play for Texas Tech and you play in the Big 12 championship, all those that counts as points because you're playing Oklahoma and Texas and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
In anything, it's WAGR. It has to be 54 holes, or it has to be match play to be clarified as WAGR points.
Wow. Now we're taking it to the next level.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Now I gotta start getting some WAGR points.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's the next goal here.
And what is that? What's like the ultimate? Like for WAGR point, like, okay, you get a whole bunch of WAGR points. What does that mean? You're just the best amateur, or is there like a tournament at some point that top 25 play in, or what's the like?
Yeah, is it like, can you bypass the qualifiers at that point if you're top 10, top 25? Like, because we all know those qualifiers for whatever the tournament is, State Open, State Am, whatever it is, it's like a shootout. You've got to go low and you get one time. Like, do these points accumulate so much that you're able to bypass that?
I mean, you really got to play well because it's like worldwide. I mean, it's like all throughout the country. So like for me, only thing like if I got hot for a season or something like that, I would try to like see where I was at for the mid-am because they got a ranking just for the mid-am. And like I think it's like top 30 or 35 for the mid-am, they get exempt for the US mid-am. But like even then, it's like really low. It's like 500 in the world because you got to think all the college kids that had all those good world ranking points, now they're still playing and stuff, but they still have all their points back when they were in college, and then it's a crazy system. So I don't even really pay attention to it anymore. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start chasing Wagger points, playing this, playing that. Now I just play in everything. I don't care. Like,
Just want to compete.
yeah, I just want to compete. I just want to play. Just
Yeah, I'm like fascinated by very good golfers like yourself. Like I kind of just like watch and say like, man, these guys can play. I think there's some part like, man, you wish you were that good. So like being able to talk to you and about this stuff is, for someone like me who's a golf fiend and a golf nerd, like I love it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Never heard of Wagger points until just now. So that was something. Yeah, for sure. Like that's. But
I've seen it. That's why it's always kind of like you see the rankings and it's like, where's somebody that you can name, recognize on that list itself.
So Mike's definitely more into. He's a better golfer. He plays more competitive golf. I enjoy golf, but I'm gonna slap it around. But he knows more about that kind of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that he's at least heard of it. Again, not even on my radar. So that's good to learn something. Yeah. Look at that.
So let's get a little bit into this place. I know that 6-time club champ. I'm going to assume that's got to be a record.
it's tied for the record.
Tied for the record.
Bob Holloway. He actually started playing golf when he was 40.
Wow.
Yeah. Started playing golf when he was 40, and the record's been 6. It's tough. We had a lot of talent come through here, and it's a grind for a month and a half.
Now, did you play in it this year? Did you win this year?
I did win this year.
Okay.
It was.
What's the most you've won in a row? Never won it back to back.
Yes, I want to say 3 times in a row.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be some pretty stud players to knock off you and.
There's a bunch. I mean, it's a tough format too because we go 27 holes from the tips for 16 spots.
Okay.
16
you don't get an automatic.
The
champion is not automatically.
Yeah, the champion gets the number 1 seed, so you're actually playing for 15 spots.
Okay.
So you're playing for 15 spots, and then you go match play, and then once you get to the final 4 match play, you go back to stroke play 27 holes from the tips.
Oh wow!
So it's stroke play, match play, stroke play, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's different. I've never heard that. I've heard of the 36-hole stroke play qualifying for X amount of spots to get to your Sweet 16 or even your Elite 8, and we're just going to go in 8. But then to go back to stroke play after that definitely opens up the field for everybody, because I mean you can attest to this, that stroke play and match play, it's 2 completely different animals.
Oh, 100%. There's been so many upsets. It's just anything can happen in match play, especially out here. Like, you guys are going to soon find out, like, this place is crazy. I mean, it's a bowling alley. Mm-hmm. And you play it, the finals in like the first week in August, so it's always hot, 27 holes. It's a grind fest. We have such support from the membership too. Like, we'll have at least 100 people out there watching. Mm-hmm. There's nothing but carts. Like, I remember one year I had to back off a shot. There's guys behind the green making odds. I'm like 120 yards out, and I had to back off a shot. These guys are all up there drinking and just having a good time watching, and he's like, oh, I got 3-1 and all this other stuff, and I had to back off a shot. It's like, you just don't get that anywhere else.
I don't know. From 110 yards, I don't know who's betting against you. From 110 yards, I might be putting the ranch on you to hit the green. So I mean that. And like, so about this place, they're, pulling in here, like I said to you, I didn't know where I was going. So when I come in here now, I feel like the seas kind of part, and I look at them like, wow, you got green, lush fairways. I mean, the pictures I saw coming here were just amazing. And you're having 3 9s out here. What are those like? Is there one harder than the other? Why don't you talk a little bit about those 3?
Yeah, so we got 3 9s, basically just cut out of the pines, and I would say our rotation's red, white, blue. Our championship rotation's red to white. The hardest 9 by far is the white 9. The blue 9 special, it's a lot of local knowledge, and we got the mountain hole. I think it's like the highest point in South Jersey.
Oh, nice.
On a nice clear day, you can see AC. Yeah, no, it's nice. It's and then the red 9, it's a good 9. It's a little bit more open compared to white and blue. So
It's right up Brian's. Yeah, it's right up Brian's.
I'm going to play 27, but just on the red.
yeah, nah.
Is there one that you, if like you got an hour and 15 to go run out and play 9 holes, which one are you picking?
I'll always pick white. I run over to white. It's got some 2-tiered greens. It's the longest. It's you really got to go golf your golf ball on white. It's real demanding.
Yeah, that's I like that. Where we joke around like, you want you go for it. I go.
We're both golf masochists. That we really like. If I'm going to a place, especially if like the PGA Tour has a stint through there, I want to play it from as far back as possible to see what the pros see. I see the whole golf course no matter what. So it doesn't matter if I'm playing from 5,500 or 7,500 yards. So if I have the opportunity, I like that.
Yeah.
If I get the opportunity to play it multiple times, then sure we'll vary it. But like I like the challenge. We have the handicap system for a reason. It allows you to do that, and it allows you to play, see the whole course and play all of your shots. That's for me.
Do you feel like this? Yeah. Do you feel like this place is a place that when you leave here, it's like, man, it is a challenging golf course because I did, to Ryan's point, get to use all the clubs in my bag.
Oh, it's it's hard to find to even compare this place anywhere. Like when you leave here today, you're gonna be like, man, wow, that was. I don't know anywhere else I can go play that kind of golf. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is basically cut out of the pines. We call it Little Mill chimes. Like you're gonna hear a bunch of lumber today. I mean, you can play good. You can play good here, and you're gonna hit some trees. It's just the nature of the mill. It's a wild place.
Yeah. Even driving here, kind of came through is it downtown Marlton? Is that kind of how I came in? Yeah, and it was a cute little town, but once you got past that, it was just I was like, where? And Mike and I were on the phone too. Where is this place? Yeah. It's just nothing but how are you cutting a course in these pine trees? And again unassuming entrance, you just kind of came and I was like, oh, here's a small little sign that says, exactly. and it just it was wild to see. So I'm super excited to see how it's cut out in the pines. And I imagine, have you ever played Matita-Conk?
I love Matita-Conk. So that's what I say.
That's how I envision right now. Before we've gone out there, I kind of envision, you don't know Matita-Conk's there, and then when you are there, you don't know any other holes are around you.
So that is the perfect example. I say that to everyone. Matita-Conk is a bigger Little Mill. Okay. That, I guess that is the actual only course that you can kind of compare to Little Mill. But take Matita-Conk and squeeze it in. It's
That's what I need.
It's nice. Yeah, I Matita-Conk is one of my favorites in Jersey just because it resembles Little Mill so much. I feel comfort there. I don't feel oh man, I need to steer. No, I'm ripping it there. I feel totally comfortable.
Yeah, it's home away from home.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure. Used to seeing all that.
Yeah, it's just I don't feel trapped. It's just I love it.
So, I mean, obviously, with you being so consistent in terms of, competitive golf in the different areas, What's a practice facility like here? Is this where you would practice leading up to an event? Like, how do you prepare? Because I know a lot of private courses, some have the phenomenal venue, they got the clubhouse, but they don't got the practice facility, or they only have the practice facility and the clubhouse and the course is subpar. Like, if you're prepping for a tournament, like, does Little Mill have the practice facility a guy like you needs to prepare before you play?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we have one putting green, no chipping only, so that's nice. Get some putting games going on over there. And then our chipping green, it's got some undulation. That's the only, I think, the downfall, because like you go up to like North Jersey and all this other stuff where all these events are, like down here we're pretty flat, so we don't have that much rolling hills, but our chipping green's got some slope on it. So I'll go over there, putt on some slopes and stuff like that. But the chipping green, it's great. It's plenty efficient for what you need to get done. The range is huge. I mean, you got grass, 2 different types of grass. It's plenty big. I mean, it's
full range. You can hit drivers.
Yeah, full range. You can hit drivers, double-sided. So, no, it's nice. It's totally efficient for what you need. Only thing I say it's lacking is slope, but you're just not going to get slope in like South Jersey. It's just...
Yeah, and especially on a range too, because I'm sure the maintenance for the superintendent on that side would be a little bit of a
nightmare for us.
Yeah.
When you say 2 different types of grass, like one is like bent grass and the other is Bermuda, or like you mean like the seeding itself?
Yeah, so like we tried doing Bermuda this year. It's been all right. It's just tough because you got to cut it down real low.
I didn't know if you meant like hitting off mats. And, like,
no,
mats
2 different grass, but like
that's cool. I don't know many places that do that.
I agree. Yeah, so I mean, one side from what he was telling me has mats, and the other side is grass.
It's like 2 different grass. Like one side's mats, and then the other has like 2 different grasses. It has like a hybrid of like all kinds of like bent grass, bluegrass. It's like a super hybrid. I've never even heard of it before.
Really?
And that's good. And then we got Bermuda too.
Okay.
Wow.
So again, I just there's not many courses that have like full grass driving range as opposed to like
and then a lot of the courses it is strictly a mat. So when you hear like grass, it's kind of like, wow, okay, that's kind of like a legit facility, because most of the time it's like, let's protect the grass, let's make it a little easier to throw the mats out. So like, you know, let's say like tomorrow is a big time tournament for you. Like, what do you do, you know, to the golfer that's out there listening that says like, you know, I'm trying to get my game to the next level. Troy's a name that I constantly see on the leaderboards and all these tournaments. You know, frankly, I'm sure you don't even do a lot of the qualifiers anymore because you're exempt to get straight into the tournament itself. Like, what are you doing to prepare yourself for that tournament that comes up? Like, are you grinding the short game? You know, what things do you work on specifically, maybe within your mechanics of your swing, leading into that tournament?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a big range rat. I mean, so I'm always out there grinding. But lucky enough for being a Little Mill member, it's like we have a game every day. So basically, if I got an event coming up, I want to play in a scat game. I want to play for some money. It's not big money, but it's enough where it's like, oh man, I lost. I mean, like you want to go out there and win, so you have a little pressure. I mean, it's not like tournament pressure, but like you don't want to go out there and lose money. So I think just going out there playing in the money game and then trying to figure out what you did wrong or something like that, and then just go practice, fill it out.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt losing any money. I don't care if it's $1 or 20 or 100. Like, the time you got to dip into that wallet, you're saying, man, this fucking sucks. I gotta hand you money. So like, when you got that 3-footer and you know I don't care for $1, 20, whatever the case is, and you miss it, like, yeah, there's no doubt.
It adds that little bit of pressure that you're for sure like, oh, I got to make this. Troy, is there something that like as kind of piggybacking on Mike's leading into a tournament, is there something that some part of your game that like, you know, like I'm pound and driver, that's the best part of my game, so leading up to this tournament I really want to work on this, putting, chipping, maybe it's driving, like what is it that you're particularly focused on to like hone in your own game that you know, like I need to work on this?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I feel like driver is the best club in my bag. So, like, I'm always trying to push it down there. I'll do a lot of wedge practice. I feel like like I said, driver's best club in my bag. So, I feel like if I'm hitting the ball good, I'm always going to have some wedges and stuff like that. So, I really hone in on the wedges, and then I practice a bunch of 5-footers. Those are the, like, keep the confidence going, momentum putts. Like, you're always going to have that 4 or 5-footer to keep for par or even bogey or something like that, just to keep that momentum. So for me, leading up to an event, I'll go throughout the bag, but mainly I'll focus on wedges and just putting inside like 10 feet.
Okay.
Like, I'll do a little lag putting, but like, you do that once you get to the course. Like me, I'm like inside like 8 feet. I'm like all day just grinding, just grinding inside 8 feet.
Like you said, those are huge. If you're in match play with somebody and you're in for par and they got an 8-footer for par, more often than not, you're thinking like, okay, that guy's going to miss this. I'm going to win this hole. And if you hit that putt, not only is it momentum for you, but it's demoralizing for them. Like, that's a huge, like, so not only are you increasing your morale, but they're decreasing theirs with that kind of putt. So that, you're right. That's like a good killer kind of.
Yeah, definitely for me. I guess I'm a ball striker, so it's like anytime the putter can heat up for me, I'm loving it. So
Going low.
yeah, I'm fairways and greens, and then
How far, I mean, obviously your stature, you're a smaller guy, but nowadays that really doesn't mean anything because, for example, Rory's a small dude on the PGA Tour and massively bombs the ball. Like, how far are you carrying your driver? How far do you hit it? Are you a bomber, or is it for you, it's more like I'm going 280 and I'm knifing this down the middle?
so I really don't know what the carry is, but I know what the swing speed is. It's like a 1.4. I cruise around 114.
Okay, so you get up there.
So like for my size, like everyone's pretty impressed.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I only say that because, again, me being a golf nerd, I literally just got fitted for the new Titleist driver.
Yeah.
Ordered the new Titleist driver. And so now the numbers are all in my head. Like, for me, I was like rock solid at 105. Like,
Yeah.
even when I tried to go after it, I was lucky if I got to 110. Like, and that was me swinging it out of my ass, and lucky the ball didn't
Stayed on the planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's fast.
No, it's funny because everyone, like, obviously I'm short and stocky and stuff like that, but like there's probably like 3 or 4 times a year where there's one guy that's consistently further than me off the tee like all day. It happens like 4 or 5 times, but like I keep up with most people. And for amateur golf, you don't need to be that long. All you need 285, 280 down the middle. That's all you need to compete in amateur golf.
Yeah. That was the one thing that I learned that's kind of like eye-opening to someone like me. Like, I don't think I hit the ball far at all. Like, maybe it's 270 off the tee, but even when I played in the State Open this year and I was playing with a kid who, was going Division I to Stanford, and I swear after I hit the tee shot, I said, I bombed that. Like, I cannot hit that any better.
Yeah.
And I said to my buddy who was caddying for me, who's also a member at Manasquan River, I said, do me a favor, just gun where Dean's ball is. Dean Greisman.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Great guy, great kid. His caddy was great, and we gunned it. He was legit 76 yards in front of me.
Yeah.
And I hit that as well as I could hit it, and he's on a whole nother atmosphere. So, like, the kids just, like, bomb it. It's mind-blowing to someone like me that the ball can go that far. Right. But yeah, it's crazy. So if you're keeping up with those guys, I mean, you're gonna leave us in the dust today.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, to kind of wrap this up, I always like to ask one question, and I know Ryan likes to end it with what we think is a great ending question. But obviously, when we're talking about like golfing in the Garden State, there are so many different tracks here. In terms of the topography, you can go in the mountains, you got the water, you got the sandy dunes, like you got places like this that all the pine needles are around, and like. You being a person who's played a lot of competitive golf, and I'm not really sure in terms of like the public side if you've been able to dabble with things there, but could you think of a top private and a top public course to you that may stand out, biased away from Little Mill? I'm not letting you say that as one of your answers. Is there one on each side that sticks out a little bit there?
So I've never really played ball to straw. I've always wanted to play ball to straw. I'm just like hoping every year maybe Jersey's going to have an event there, an Open, or something like that.
They did with the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It's so, listen, before I cut you off there, like, I kid you not, we must have asked, I asked that question to everybody. You're like maybe the fourth or fifth person that we've interviewed so far, and every single person says, you know, my favorite or the place I want to get on is Baltusrol.
Yeah.
I've never played there. I know you've played 9 holes there. Like, it is insane, I guess, what that place must truly be like.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is special. But to your point, it's incredible.
And I guess another one would be, since everyone's saying Baltusrol, Hamilton Farm. Like, that place looks sick. Just like they got a short course. I think it's rated too. The short course is rated, which is like unheard of.
We talked about it is the only USGA rated short course in the United States.
That's wild.
The only one. So those are 2 good ones. And what about ones that you've played? You know, if you think back to the course that you've played, is there 1 or 2 that maybe on the private side or the public side that have stood out as like, wow, that, you know, for a public golf course, like, God, that's in really good shape, or one that I would say, listen, if you're in the area, like, go play, and if you're invited to this place, like I played it, you got to go see
Worth it, yeah.
I mean, I guess we can knock off AC. I mean, that's like the best. I mean, I know they're semi now or something like that.
They just went private, but
Yeah, it just went private. I mean, that was incredible for public. But I would say one around here that's sneaky good has probably, I would put this par 3 against any par 3 in the state, is Riverwinds. Riverwind, it's right off the water, that 17th hole. It's like 170, wind ripping. I mean, it's great. It's a good layout. It's always in pretty good condition. I haven't played in a couple years, but some of the guys go over there on Mondays and stuff and play, and they always rave about it. Great bar, great atmosphere after golf too. So
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What about on the private side? Like, obviously, what's one that, I know you talked about Mentitakunk being like one of your favorites. Like, is there one on the private side to you that kind of is like that you've played that's stands out?
I mean, Somerset's great. I mean, just it's the green complex is there. You really got to golf your ball there. I love courses that where you just don't get up there and pound it and go find it and stuff like that. Like, you actually have to think hitting into this green, like, all right, yeah, it's like, all right, this thing's going to bounce 10 yards left. Like, all right, you got to be precise. That's kind of golf I like.
Yeah. And it's so funny when you bring up Riverwinds. Like, I've heard of it, okay? My buddy tells me about it. Like, he's like, I'm telling you, when you get out there, you got to go check this place out. So when you had told me about the 17th hole, you know, before this, I texted him. I said, all I said to him in a text, I said, 17th hole Riverwinds. And he texted me back, best hole out there. And I said, it's so funny you say it, because Troy was mentioning, like, this is a spot, it's a good place. He lives in that area, so that I thought that was kind of, you know, fitting.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that place too, but never been out there.
Yeah, no, it's a good spot.
So Troy, to kind of end this, we always like to ask, golfers are quirky by nature. We all got our quirks, and I think golf lends itself to be even quirkier than some other sports with like all the stuff that we could do. What are some of those superstitions or quirks that you might have that everybody has and nobody likes to talk about?
I mean, I think mine, it's nothing crazy. I always do 2 tees, 2 ball marks, or two quarters, 2 tees, and a divot tool in the glove in the left pocket.
Okay.
Like in the back left pocket. Back left pocket. Like, I can't stand it having it in the right. Like, I have some shorts that don't have a back left pocket, and I won't wear them to play golf. Because, like, it's just like, I take my glove and I go reach and I go put it in my pocket, and it's not there. And I'm like, all right, I can't wear these.
Okay.
Like, it's just weird.
And is all that stuff in the same pocket?
Yeah, I don't go to that extent. Like, it's all over the place.
Okay, so
yeah.
it doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah.
Does it matter the year of the quarter?
No, so it always has to be 2 quarters. So yeah, I never do like a dime or a penny or something. I always just do 2 quarters. I don't care if it's old, new, shiny.
Heads, tails, doesn't matter.
Always heads. Yeah, that's another thing. Always heads, never tails.
Why heads?
I don't know. I've never been a tails. Anytime you pick when you're a kid or something, it's always heads. It's never.
Tails never fails.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
But I like listen. Another person has brought up the heads thing because that's someone else.
I was just going to ask: is the heads facing somewhere, or is it just heads and drop it down?
Only time it's tails is when I move my mark. So if I move my mark, I flip it to tails.
That is so crazy.
So it's like anytime I put my ball down and it's on tails, I know I need to move it somewhere.
Okay, and remind yourself. Oh, I got.
Yeah, or something like that. Just something, just a little quirk. Just, you know,
No,
It's funny because I think that's a question that we think is a great ending because golfers can be weird by nature.
Yeah.
We can have our superstitions and like sometimes dabbling and talk about like, but again, like a common theme that we've experienced on this is the 2 tees, the quarters, the heads up. You know, it's amazing the similarities that golfers really have that sometimes are things like that aren't talked about.
2 tees. You break one. One tee's got to go in the pocket, or do you have to finish both tees? Like both tees have to break before you put 2 more back in?
No, once one breaks, the other one gets replaced.
Okay.
It's just like always 2.
Okay.
Always 2. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to. It can be 2 wooden. It can be 2 plastic. It doesn't matter. It always has to be 2.
Okay.
I'm listening. He's a +3, 4, whatever. I'm gonna start going 2 tees. Starting today, I'm going 2 tees. I'm not going the quarter, but I'm going 2 tees. That's it. And maybe I can put up some of Troy's numbers. So as a wrap up, listen, Troy, I appreciate you inviting us out here to talk with you, to see this place, and we're looking forward to stepping on the golf course. And so I thank you for inviting us. So.
Yeah, absolutely. This was incredible. Again, super looking forward to getting out there and even maybe more so seeing the course, seeing you play, because I've heard nothing but great things, and I got high expectations for your game. So no pressure there.
Pressure's on already. No, thanks, Mike and Ryan. I really appreciate you guys coming down, and I'm looking forward to the day. Let's go have one.